Now to two families, two much-loved dogs and one groomer. The mix-up that lasted 2 years and how the truth finally came out.
It was the strangest thing that's ever happened to me.
I just want to know what happened that day.
This is the bizarre story about two families, two dogs, and one epic mistake, which is still having devastating consequences more than 2 years on.
I miss Coco.
In September 2016, Maria dropped off her spoodle Coco at the groomers, Petarazzi, in Melbourne's Thornbury. That same day, at the same pet salon, the McLean family checked in their Labradoodle, Rollo, for a haircut. But during the grooming process, the dogs were switched.
It's beyond ridiculous.
Maria took home Rollo after being told by the groomers he was Coco. Sarah did the same with Maria's dog. Both pets were newly shaved.
I brought him home and I noticed the dog wouldn't go through the kitchen. Kept on calling him. He just stood there for about an hour, not moving, staring.
I always expected him to look a bit different when I picked him up because he, it goes from long hair to short hair. And I was really perplexed and I said to the groomer, "Are you sure this is our dog?" And they said, "Yes, it is. But the dog's got a really serious ear infection. You need to take it to the vet straight away."
Sarah took the dog for several checkups. The poor animal grew increasingly sick and the family was told his personality changes and the difference in nose colour came about as a result of the illness.
I think if the dog hadn't been so sick and we hadn't been so preoccupied with trying to work out what was wrong with the dog and how we could get the dog treated, perhaps things would have been different. But at that time we were really, really focused on this really distressed dog that was clearly deteriorating quite rapidly and having seizures.
After the break on A Current Affair, a tragic twist in this story, and we'll reveal how the pet salon's blunder finally came to light more than 2 years after it happened. Plus, how things all end up, and you won't see it coming.
I just want justice for Coco.
Welcome back. For Maria and Sarah, realising that they took home the wrong dogs was distressing. But what they found out next was heartbreaking.
The neurological vet said the most likely explanation was a brain tumour.
Sarah and her family were heartbroken. The dog they thought was theirs was suffering seizures and could barely stand upright.
We thought that the kindest thing to do was to put the dog down, but we were so devastated and we were shattered to lose such a beautiful dog.
Maria, meanwhile, was trying to work out why the dog she'd taken home was behaving so strangely. She contacted the groomers with her concerns multiple times.
I actually said, "What have you done to my dog? My dog is different." And the gentleman said, "We have done nothing to your dog. The dog is fine."
You don't need to be a dog breed expert to realise Coco wasn't Coco at all. Even Maria's young grandson, Cruz, could tell.
I thought he looked very different when we first saw him because he had like a brown nose.
He had the brown nose, my dog had the black nose. But he assured me that sometimes this can happen. So I accepted all of that.
Unbeknownst to the grandmother of 8, the real Coco had been put down. And while the McLean family grieved the loss of what they thought was their pet, just a few streets away, Rollo, as Coco, grew more comfortable in his new home.
He loved to be with me.
2 years passed and Maria's family tried to forget about those peculiar differences they'd noticed. Coco became part of the family. But their world was about to be rocked. On New Year's Eve last week, the dog got spooked by the fireworks at the family's holiday house in Mornington and ran away.
The next day we called the pound and they said that the ranger had picked him up. The pound checked his microchip and said, "This is not your dog."
I got a phone call and someone said to me, "Oh, we found Rollo." And I was absolutely flabbergasted and I thought, oh, someone's playing a prank.
Because Rollo, for you...
Rollo was dead. He'd been dead for over 2 years.
The other family, she did offer to share Coco, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't think it was fair. So I gave up Coco because I didn't want him to suffer anymore because he did recognise her.
Girls, how is it to have your pet back?
I mean, it's amazing. It feels kind of unreal.
I'm happy. He's had his first time, that's all I can say.
I just feel really, really sorry for Maria's family and so grateful that they've relinquished Rollo to us because we're so absolutely thrilled to have him back again.
Yeah, all good people. What a shame. We tried to contact the former owner of Petterazzi, which has since closed down, but have not heard back.